Ah, there we are, getting some technical difficulties. Hopefully we can hear me now. We'll test this out here. Trying to do this with StreamYard so we can get to the different stream locations. Let's see here. There we go. We've got Mr. David Kroll on here. Sounds like we can hear you, David. How's that?
I can hear you just fine.
You can hear me. Let's hope that everyone else can hear us here. Let's see here. Hey, honey, the manager back there, can you hear us on the stream? Waiting to hear back here. All these different technical things. I'm a geek, but even with some of this new technology, it's pretty amazing what we're able to do. Being able to be in these different locations and reach people all over, not just Michigan, but the world. I mean, we have viewers sometimes that are, all over the place. It's pretty phenomenal. So, yes, welcome to VocaLocals. Anyone that's tuning in right now, I am Adam Heikela, and we have David Kroll on here tonight with us. Those of you that have watched VocaLocals in the past, we have a little tradition that we've started here. So I'm not sure. All right, cool. Looks like we do got sound going for sure. Awesome. Okay, sounds good, Diane. Thank you very much. So if you're watching, whether it be on my Facebook page, we are streaming right now on my YouTube channel. So if you have not been there, and you could go and give me a little subscribe there, that would be awesome. Haven't really tried much in the past yet to build up my viewers on that, but if you could subscribe, that's always going to help. And of course, we're at the APC channel as well. So please get on the APC channel and make sure that you follow there. They are definitely a part of a whole lot of things going on across the state and across the nation as well. So now, David, there's something that we do here that we have a lot of fun here. Try to have some fun, right? Because obviously we're going to we're gonna talk about some pretty serious things tonight. We definitely are getting always into some serious things because we have serious things that are happening all across our state in every single one of our communities. And so it gets pretty heavy at times. So we got to keep it light. We got to have some fun. And so what we do here, we have a little theme song that we've started here. And so what we do is we make our guests suffer through and do a little theme song fun with us. Okay. So here we call this VocaLocals. And so we have a little jingle that my wife and I just kind of created, and it's morphed a little bit over time. But so it starts out where we repeat. Okay. So it's more like a little chant, right? So it starts out with, I'm a VocaLocal. And then there's some hand motions too, right? So you got to go, I'm a VocaLocal. Okay. And then you'll say, and you'll do that, I'm a VocaLocal. And then we'll go on to the next part. We flip the words, so it makes it a little tricky on you. And we say, and we got to point at the camera because, see, we're talking to all those viewers out there. We're talking to all of those people that are going to watch this video and don't understand that they just need to get vocal in their local communities. So we say, you're local, not vocal. Okay. So we point at them. You're local, not vocal. And then you repeat, you're local, not vocal. And then together we say, be a VocaLocal too. And then we got to sing at the end, be a VocaLocal too. Hey. All right. Does that sound good? Can you do that? Can we put it all together?
There's a difference between can you do it and do you want to do it?
Yes. No, man, this is a lot of fun, man. This is a lot of fun. We always have a lot of fun with this. So no worries, okay? You don't have to sing it. If you just want to chant it back, you can do that. However, I mean, I sing a little bit. I don't know. It's fun, all right? So let's practice. Ready? So I'm a VocaLocal. So I'll go and then you'll go, okay?
Okay. All right.
So I'm a VocaLocal.
I'm a VocaLocal.
You're local, not vocal.
You're local, but not vocal.
Be a VocaLocal too. And then we're supposed to do some doo-doo like this. Doo-doo.
Okay.
But okay. So the last one we go, So right after, so we can time it together. I know it's a little weird with this timing on here. So make sure then right after you do your pointing at and saying you're local, not vocal, go right into in the timing, be a vocal local too. All right.
Yeah,
And then it's going to be awesome. We're going to time it perfect. I know we can do it, David. I know we can do it. It's going to be awesome. All right. So, all right. Now I'm going to start. You echo. We're going to do each of those parts echo. And then right after that second echo part that you do, we're going to go in and tell them, be a vocal local too. All right. Ready? So I'm a vocal local.
I'm a vocal local.
You're local, not vocal.
You're local, but not vocal.
Be a vocal local
too.
Yay! Hey, no, that was awesome. That was awesome. Hey, like I said, we just try to have a little fun with it. All right. So, I mean, it's just, we got to have fun in life. I mean, this is not not an easy time here in 2020 for anybody. I don't think anybody has had much of a good time. Right. I mean, it's just been a crazy year. But it's been one that I keep continuing to say to people that it's been extremely enlightening, right? Like this has been a time where people have been awakened to things and just an understanding that that we've been needed to reach, I think, in a lot of ways for a long time. I've seen darkness really infiltrate all aspects of our lives. People that are able to be deceptive and use deceptive tactics in order to maintain an unjust power over a whole lot of people, and when we allow these systems to be broken down to the degree that we do, we have to stand up like you've done, and that's why when we've only talked that one time briefly, and but like I said in that time, that I commend you for standing up. We've seen people all over the state of Michigan for the last many months standing up, and they all can attest that it's not an easy thing. And so I know that many, many thousands of people across the state of Michigan commend you for speaking out and doing the right thing, because it is not an easy thing. And you do it with just such ease and just such grace. And that's why I said our distinguished guest that we have tonight, David Kroll, because I truly understand the position that you're in and how difficult it can be when people will continue to come after you and try to discredit you in ways. When what you've done is just wanting to show people exactly how this system has been functioning. Is that kind of a good synopsis of what I mean? I want you to get in maybe right now, if you could, and just say hello. I've been rambling too much here. I'm just excited to talk to you. Like the other night. So go ahead and introduce yourself. You've been in there for 2 years, I believe, as the chair. I know that you've been involved some other years prior to that, and maybe give a little explanation of why you got involved in the county, and what kind of led up to all of this.
Yeah, so my name is David Kroll, and I've been the chairman for Ottawa County GOP for 2 years now. I've actually been involved with the party since 2009, ever since Obama got elected. I was one of those people for years that, I do a little writing here and there. I might do one event here and there, but I, never really got fully involved. Just, allowed myself to be preoccupied with other stuff. And it's like, whatever, you can't really make much of a difference. But once Obama got elected, it's like, I can't sit on the couch anymore. I've always enjoyed civics class, government class with middle school. I always thought it'd be cool if I was a state rep or something else. And I actually did run for state house representative in 2014. But for me, it's like the more people that just sit on the sideline, the more corruption goes on, the more, even if the politicians were decent, you still got your unbalanced budgets, you still got other deals going on, laws being made that are just not quite line up with the Constitution. So for me, it's like, if more people got involved, then they got to kind of sit back and go, okay, wait a minute, people are actually watching us, people are actually engaging us. They might actually learn a thing or two, because a lot of people get into politics and they get caught up in just the fame of what's going on, or someone may handpick them and they don't really know what's going on, and so they blindly do stuff. And so more people that get involved, the more they actually would learn, just through dialogue. But if you get the right people involved, then you would have your balanced budgets. You wouldn't have to worry about backroom deals. You wouldn't have to worry about the governor shutting the state down, and turning it back on, turn it off, turn it on, and just can't make up her mind. You get the corruption taken away. And I'm not going to try to say that if enough people get involved that all of a sudden the whole politics spectrum is perfect. I mean, we're all sinners, and so we're all going to make mistakes here and there. But there is something called integrity and character, and we need to hold the people accountable, regardless of how strong you may be as a Christian, or even if you're not a Christian. There are non-Christians that have high values.
Well, and that's, you brought up your faith, in Christianity, and that's, I've been trying to explain to people over and over that this truly is a spiritual battle that we are fighting. And that's why I equate, like on the board here, it's a battle of light and dark. It's a battle of good versus evil.
Mm-hmm.
It's a dichotomous fight that we are in. And there's a battle every day that is inside of each and every one of us, of whether or not we're going to choose to do the right thing or the wrong thing. What we've seen and what you've helped to uncover here that we'll share here more with people is how these folks that have they have influence over a lot of people. They have been doing deceptive, behind the scenes, dark tactics, worldly, dark, evil, empty, hateful tactics in order to get whatever they want, which is power and control. They want to be able to control the vote. Like we're battling right now and trying to see if there's fraud in our national election process right now. And it has been on the world stage for the last month. What we're seeing here is that we have a problem with our election process all the way down to the smallest local level. And people have to recognize and see that. That's why this show is here. And we've been talking about being vocal locals and getting people to understand. As soon as you get involved in your local community, you're going to see corruption. You're going to see people that are making deals exactly like what we're going to talk about here tonight. You're going to see people that are really incapable of doing the work in the positions that they're in. Because I'm not sure if that's what you've seen in some of the areas in your community, but I know that there are people that have been elevated because they have money, they have influence in some way, but they're really not there for the right reasons. And so when it comes to all of these problems, we have a lot of problems that we need to make sure we have the smartest people that have the right heart to come up with solutions. But when we have people that are just wanting to fulfill their own selfish gains and desires, and to, we're going to continue to have broken roads. We're going to have broken infrastructure in our sewer and water systems. We're going to be poisoned and not know about it. And it's going to be covered up because someone can take a few $1,000s or, a bottle of alcohol and a position, right? Or, some of these types of things that are offered on a regular basis. So you've been, how many years have you been involved in the Ottawa County GOP then? I mean, you're 2 years as the chair, but then how many years prior to that had you been involved and
Yeah. So I started volunteering back in 2009. And
that's
then,
right. Okay. 2009 it was.
Yep.
Okay.
And I want to say it was because of how I ran my campaign in 2014 that gave me enough credibility with the precinct delegates to vote me on to the executive committee.
Yeah.
At the November convention in 2014. Because usually challenges, you don't usually win challenges, but I was able to, I think I was the second or third challenge that night, and I was successful, and only one other person happened to be successful. And that, of course, the November convention in Ottawa.
So explain the challenge then, just to make sure everyone knows, okay? Because I think a lot of people that are watching, remember, really, a lot of folks just have no idea as far as the process, as far as our delegates, as far as the executive committee, all of these things. So explain a little bit as far as what that is involving.
Yeah. So I don't know how all the counties do it, so I'll just explain what Ottawa does, because it may be different. So what Ottawa does is Ottawa County puts a slate together, and the people that are interested in being on the executive committee, it changed a little bit, but in 2014, basically the slate would just put names down as to who should represent the area in Ottawa County. So in Ottawa County, we break into 4 quadrants: the Northwest, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest. And I live in the Southwest. Mm-hmm. And then based on the population, it determines how many people can serve on the executive committee in that region. And the executive committee is based on this. I know is true, should be true across the state. It's 50-50 in terms of the elected officials and the citizen portion. So you don't have to worry about the elected officials aspects. That's already a given. So the citizen portion, that has to be elected at a convention within 30 days after the general election. And so at that convention, all the precinct delegates that were duly elected back in August primary will gather together, and they'll look at that list, and they'll go by quadrant to quadrant. And if anybody wants to challenge somebody because they believe they're a better person, or at least can better serve on that committee for the next 2 years, they will then make the challenge. So that's what I did. I said, David Kroll, challenge. I think it was Richard. I forgot his last name, but he's a city councilman in Zeeland, Van Dorn, if I remember correctly. And I was successful, and one of 2 success. I think there's 4 total, and that's kind of an odd thing. Usually you get maybe 1. But like I was saying earlier, Ottawa County was in a hot mess because of some other stuff going on prior to that. So there was just more people showing up and not voting the way they probably would under normal circumstances.
So you're saying that there's been other problems within the county and the process and things that have been going on for a while then?
Yeah, so the mess I briefly referred to is the August convention, where you elect delegates to go to state convention. The list that was submitted to state was not the same as when we ended at the county convention, because at the county convention, we've had a couple issues here and there before, so a lot of people take pictures. Everyone's looking at the list, and so we got this recorded evidence of these are the delegates, these are the alternates, and then you get people that show up
there is not the same. So you're saying that people have then pictures of what was supposed to be submitted and tabulation of the votes, but that's not the same list that went to the state. So what did they do about that? Did they make any adjustments? Did they go with what the state received, or did they make the changes based off the evidence that was presented?
So the state accepted what was originally, or I should say originally submitted. So a few people got together, made the claim that the list was wrong. They changed it. They didn't look at any pictures. They didn't call the secretary in, which took the minutes. And so we had people that went to state convention, and it's like, hey, I was supposed to be a delegate, and I'm not even on the list. You had a few people that were supposed to be a delegate, but they were alternates. You had alternates that were delegates. And I don't know when you got involved in politics, but the August 2014 convention for state, there was a heated seat election at state convention. It was Lieutenant Governor Brian Kelly up against Wes Nakasaki, I think it was his last name. And it was, poll-wise, it was kind of a tie. And obviously Brian Kelly is Lieutenant Governor under Rick Snyder. This West, he's a Tea Party conservative, so get the right delegates at state convention, you can make him win. So, long story short, basically some lists were changed to kind of guarantee enough establishment like precinct delegates would find their way to state convention to secure a victory for Ryan Kelly.
Right.
That controversy within Ottawa led to the firing of the executive director without any. Supposedly there was an organization committee meeting, but the organization never went to the executive committee and discussed there. There was just a flat out firing. So then there was an executive meeting, and that was about a 2-hour ordeal, very heated. And they even went to a closed session. They voted 14-12 not to do an investigation. They were going to wait until after the general election. And of course, after the convention and the election of officers, there never was an investigation. So, everything it was kind of, when you look at the behind the scenes, what goes on, stuff gets fixed, and it was never meant to happen.
Right. Well, and that's, and so, and that's been my experience as well. And a lot of people have heard some of my past in my story. I'm a recalled supervisor, a township supervisor recalled on a board where I was the only elected Republican, and my county party did not support me. My county party actually was told me that it was a grassroots Republican effort to recall me, which they wouldn't explain really why. They only the really only reason is because I had evidence of corruption that Republicans were involved in our community. And this was all the way to, for me in my situation, went all the way to, at the time, the county clerk, sitting judges that are in the community, because we have one law firm that controls the entire community. It's really, it's really a bad thing. People don't understand how bad that is when one attorney has the ability to control every municipality that surrounds a city. It allows for them to have a lot of power in regards to how they deal with that city. That's just how the system works. I know you understand that, but a lot of our viewers, they don't want it. I believe that everybody really does understand it quite a bit more than what they want to admit. And that's what this, these shows are about. That's what doing interviews with people like yourself is about. People that have experienced these things as well. We need to build up people that are going to speak out. We need to have a support system that's going to positively reinforce people like yourself, David, and others that are going to have an experience that they need to share with others so that we can stop this in our communities. If we cannot stop this in our local communities, in our each and every one of our counties, then we're never going to be able to stop any corruption at a statewide level or at a national level. It is impossible. It literally is impossible. Those systems of power are far too large. They're far too strong. And we need to start dismantling them just like this, discussing how they are doing it, and not be afraid to just pull out a recording device and record the conversation with these individuals, because we have to have a way to hold them accountable. And so, David, you did that, and that was, I don't know, was it a scary feeling when you did that? Did you feel, I've recorded many conversations now with some of these individuals, some of the same individuals, mind you, that you are dealing with. I have recorded conversations, but that's a whole other topic in itself, a long time. But because we have to have evidence. We have to be able to share with people, hey, this isn't just my feelings. This is what someone said to me. And so what was it like for you? Did you feel weird? Was it out of place for you? Was it just, did you feel okay? I mean, like I said, I think that it's being able to help shine the light of truth is really what it's about. And so that's why I have not felt weird anymore once I realized that, that there's nothing to fear when we're after just truth and accountability. And so what was it for you? How was it?
No, I didn't feel weird about it. I've had to do it a couple times before regarding business. just to make sure things go well. So it's not like I was an amateur, never did it before.
Sure.
So maybe it was because I was guilty or corrupt within myself, however you want to play it out. But knowing that there's backroom doors within the party, knowing the structure of how things can get done, I knew if I didn't record anything regarding conversations I'm having with certain people, that it's just going to, you're going to hear about it and you got no proof. And it's like, we got to, it's like, at the end of the day, I don't care if I lose an election. And honestly, I don't care who I lose it to. I just want to make sure that the election is fair. I want to make sure that things are done rightly. And, and we can't be having these backroom doors going on and trying to steal an election. Because like you said, if it's going on in a local party in your hometown, how do you expect it to be corrected at a national level?
Right. It's virtually impossible. And I know that's because some of the things that I was connected with 5 years ago, that I've been sharing with people, it really was at a national level of connection. And so I was able to be in an environment and around individuals that are literally doing things to control at a national level. They're talking about the national narrative and controlling that. So then they have it broken down where, in the state of Michigan, they have 5 organizations still here in the state of Michigan controlling our narrative. The narrative that they're controlling right now is be afraid of everyone, wear a mask, stay in your home, that this thing is going to kill all of you. And that a mask is the number one way to keep you safe, when we know that's not the truth. The number one way to keep us safe is, to get enough rest, to exercise, to eat right, to get enough vitamins, to get enough, all of the things that will actually make you healthy. And a mask is not it, but all of these people have been rising to positions of power because guess what? On the left, all of what happens on the left, this whole bipartisan party system. And that's why I have this on the board here, right? About the political power versus God's representative power. America was truly founded on biblical principles of a representative system. But we have gotten so far away from being true representatives and understanding that of ourselves. We have people that act like complete children, and they're adults. In my experience, in my local community, in people that worked with me, that were elected officials, okay? Some top high level of paid officials in our community acted like some of the biggest children I have ever dealt with in my life. Mm. It was just mind-blowing that they were able to be in such a position in our community, but it was because no one was involved. No one really stood up then no one speaks out. No one says, wait a minute, why is this person doing this, right? And it's because we don't understand what it is to be a real representative. This person didn't understand what it was to be a representative. They were completely controlled by darkness. They would constantly lash out and be dark. It was not a healthy thing. Luckily, that person did not win their reelection finally, and they're gone, which is great. And someone that's very amazing is in that position. A buddy of mine's wife, which is pretty awesome. And but still, we don't have enough people in there. We've got 2 more people. I was in as one person at our last election cycle. Then they removed me. We have 2 people that I feel are very good lights in the community, but that's 2 out of 7 on my board. That's how long it takes. 4 years. We doubled though. I mean, that's the way. I mean, like, hey, let's talk about it percentage wise, like our governor does, right? We had a 50% increase in our vote. It's a positive now though, not a scary thing. It was good. It was good. We've got 2 votes instead of 1 for sure. But that's the way it is. We have to keep working though, and that's why you've been around a long time, and so you've been seeing this. I know that you've been seeing this. I know that, there's no selfish gain for you in this. This is about, cleaning up and letting people know how our voices are silenced. I told everyone that if you understand that there is fraud in our election system, in our national system right now, And we can't accept any level of fraud in that system. And so if you accept it, then you are accepting the fact that all of our voices do not matter. If there is a degree of fraud that is able to control those elections, then all of our voices, not just minority voices, not just some of these that they want to try to divide us amongst and say they are silenced, all of us are silenced. There's nothing that we can do, because the people that have control of the vote are going to be always the ones that decide who is the victor, just like they're trying to do with you in this situation. So can you explain a little bit, like what exactly happened now? So some people really don't know. I've said a little bit, that there's some bribes and there's some other things that have happened. I still was just kind of floored when I listened to this audio, and we'll try to. I'll try to queue up a good spot in this audio. I do have it up, but I forgot to write down the time in it for some of the good juicy spots, right? So we'll guesstimate and we'll pick where it's at in a little bit. But why don't you go ahead and tell the people a little bit what exactly what has happened now, because you have wanted to run for the chair, and so we can kind of tee it up like that. You're wanting to run again for the chair. You've been there for 2 years. Is there a term limit in your county? Do they have that? Is it like two-year terms and then you got to be gone or something like that? Or
actually, there's 3 terms.
3 terms you can do? Okay, so you can do 6 years consecutive and then okay. So you wanted to do that, right? Because you know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and there's things that you've been working towards, and it takes a while to get your footing and to get traction for different projects. And so tell us a little bit more then of what has gone down, and really the whole key of why are we here?
Yeah. Well, before I do that, I'm not 100% sure if I was going to do a 3rd term.
Sure.
If I was reelected.
Sure.
It takes a lot out of you. And
but right now, you were doing the 2nd term for sure. You wanted to be there. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the last 2 chairs only served 1 term each, and I'm like, well, if I do 1 term, well, that's 3 consecutive terms or 3 consecutive election cycles with only 1 chair. So for me, it's like that doesn't create stability. So I purposely chose and had the desire to do a 2nd term just to bring stability. Mm-hmm. And then depending on how those 2 election cycles went would determine if I actually win a 3rd one or not. So
sure.
But anyhow, so yeah, I want to run again because, like I said, I want to bring stability. There's a lot of things I worked for and got things accomplished with help with other people, of course. And I wanted to continue building on that, and then also continue to add a few different things too, and make a few other changes. But I was a year ago. I don't know what your county experienced. I don't know exactly how much information your viewers would have, but about a year ago, in January, February, a lot of the counties had to take a vote on a UN resolution regarding refugee resettlement. President Trump had actually taken us out of it, but instead of it being like an executive order or some mandate or law passed by the House and Senate, it was basically kind of left up to individual counties, nationwide, as to whether or not they want to still be in it or if they want to opt out. So Ottawa County, they were going to have their vote, and I learned that the Democrat Party had put a call to action to get volunteers, but people to go to the county commissioner meeting and encourage them to vote. I believe it would be a yes to stay in. I think it was a yes vote. And, okay, you know what? The Democrats are going to do it. I can do it too. So that's what I did. They didn't like that. In Ottawa County, we have 11 county commissioners. 10 of them are Republican, one's a Democrat. All 11 voted the same way. And the Republicans didn't like the fact they did a call to action. And so that's kind of what started it based on the one recording. And then also when it came to the November convention, when you do let your viewers listen, it was also mentioned that Bill Huizenga, who would be our U.S. congressional representative, he had a couple people that had applied and they never made it through the slate to be on the executive committee prior to the county convention. I guess that upset them as well. So that's one aspect. It really came down to I'm not a chair who's going to side with the elected officials or the establishment or the swamp, whatever term you want to use. I'm the person that's going to side with what's right. And honestly, when it came to that call of action, I thought I was doing the county commissioners a favor by, supporting them in the sense that, hey, I got your back. Don't worry about what the Democrats are doing. Well, that backfired, totally backfired. And so yeah, as you'll hear, each chair has to make a decision, side with the elected officials or side with the grassroots. And honestly, I believe your every decision has to be what's best for the party. And there will be times where maybe siding with the elected officials is actually best for the party, but the opposite would also be true. Siding with the grassroots is best for the party. And as chair, you got to walk that line.
So what do you mean by that now? Explain to the people here, what there's this grassroots and then there's the electeds. Like what, because that's I think one of the things that's bothered me more than anything. And I think that is representative of all of our issues as regular people. So what is that exactly? Grassroots and the electeds.
So the elected officials obviously would be county commissioners, state elected representatives, a senator, treasurer, clerk. So any public elected official that you would vote at the general election. So that would make up 50% of the executive committee. Grassroots people would be, your Tea Party, patriots. People get involved with any organization, a volunteer who just wants to go out there and make a difference. I would classify them as a grassroots, and it doesn't necessarily have to be someone within a Tea Party, although that is kind of how a lot of people would view it when it comes to the Patriots and the Tea Party. They kind of take on that grassroots label because they're out there doing the work, and then when it comes to elected officials, they themselves may be doing some work, but there's never this correlation between the two. It's like the elected officials kind of go off and do their own thing to get elected and to get things done. The grassroots would go off and do their own thing. And so, for me as the chair, it's like, well, we got to bring it together.
So the way I kind of viewed it, and the way that I really see this represented in what's happened here in the county, and what you're going to get to as far as what's happened now in this last week, is that we as America, when we broke away from Britain, we were breaking away from that system of nobles and the system of peasants. And I truly believe that what we are seeing represented here with what you said is the electeds, right? Because the electeds all act with this air, with this arrogance, with this this feeling that they are different than everyone else. My experience as a township supervisor, when I went to all of the different meetings, when I dealt with all of the different elected officials, it was that we were in this different system than the others, because in a sense you are. A lot of them, you're in a position of immunity for your actions in a lot of ways, and people do not get prosecuted while they are holding these positions of office. I think that's because then it uncovers a lot of other wrongdoing if we start to go after and hold these people accountable. And it's going to be because it's a house of cards. These people have nothing but a house of cards. And once we start to take, one of them cards out, it all starts to crumble down. And that's what I'm really hoping to do with more folks like yourself, and all across the state of Michigan and all across the nation, getting them to not be afraid and wanting to step up. Because what I've done in my community, just like what you're talking about here, I had people that actually now are back onto my board. I had individuals when I first got elected. I had someone that came and told me who was going to be appointed onto the planning commission. And it really was kind of a sore spot with me, because that was, as the township supervisor, that is one of your statutory roles, is to help guide the township by picking and appointing the best individuals possible that you see. You're elected for your decision-making ability, to pick the best individuals that are going to guide the township, work hard, not just guide, but work hard for the township, looking for people that are going to do what they're, over and above even what people expect of them in these positions. And that's what I was trying to do. But no, because I did not choose who the powers that be wanted. I was a bad guy, and I had to get yelled at. And I actually had some people recently tell me we had an event in our township, and they still talk about it as one of the best events we've ever had. It was back in 2017. We had Santa Claus and live reindeer. It was awesome. We had 1,000+ people come through our township hall. It was just a lot of fun. Ran out of hot dogs in like 30 minutes. It was amazing. Wow. Yeah, we had planned for 300. And I know they still talk about that. But 2 days later, because I was not appointing the people that the establishment wanted, I was then a bad guy. So it's the same kind of thing that you're going through, right? Where people wanted to have this control from an outside perspective, where they had no authority. They had no ability to control what's going on, but they do. They do, because they do these little backdoor deals. They try to make you feel good and say, "Hey, David, why don't we give you an award and pat you on the back, right? And tell you what a great job you did in front of all these people, and you get all these accolades. And hey, we'll even put you on the state board and state committee, right? We'll give you a committee seat." Because that's what they offered you, right?
Yeah, they offered me a state committee man seat. So those who don't know that, in February, there's going to be a state convention, that'll be a Saturday. So Friday night, the day before that, you actually have your congressional caucus. So I'm in the 2nd congressional district. Each congressional caucus will then elect their chair, vice chair, treasurer, secretary, 3 committee men, 3 committee women. And I don't know what the other congressionals would have, but in the 2nd, we would be electing, if I remember correctly, 7 additional people to the executive committee. And then, of course, the rest of the committee for 2nd congressional district would be the chair of each county that's represented within the 2nd congressional district. So I was offered a state committee man, one of 3. And honestly, I don't know exactly how they'd even be able to guarantee it, because, unless there was just 3 of us, obviously, hey, that's a done deal. There's 3 people, vote for no more than 3. Problem is, there's usually, for the most part, there's always a 4th person. And I've seen it. I think there may have been one time where there was 5 people. So it's like, if it would be a contested race, well, now what are you going to do? You lie to people? Are you going to be law-arming and telling certain people that they have to vote for me based on a deal that I agreed to, that I didn't even have a say in the deal? The way I look at it, if you're going to make a deal with me to try to get me to do something, you should probably include me in the deal.
Yeah. Say, hey, at least, what would you be interested in? What
exactly.
would it take for you to step down? That was never even asked of you, was it, David?
No,
they literally say to you, they say, you're done. Your capital is spent. And the fact that he throws in your face that he had to use his capital in order to get you this deal. Didn't that sway you, David? Didn't that make you feel all warm and fuzzy? Like, you care so much about me. Thank you so much. Now I'll do what you're asking. No, you didn't. You turned right back and said, well, no, I think I'm probably going to run still. And I love it. Like I said, it's awesome to listen to you in that audio. So everyone, I'll tag the audios as well, the full audios. I'll link them. There's a story that was done. I'll drop it in the comments here now, actually. And I think I had it there still. No, that's StreamYard. I'll drop it in the comments so everyone can definitely find it, because it's amazing. Just to hear, the audacity, that these people have. it made me chuckle, but like I said, it made me excited. I mean, it really did. I was like, because these people need to get caught, you know. And I see because the one gentleman that's involved in this, Keith is a part of a group, and what we have is so many groups that label themselves as Christian organizations. They do that solely for the purpose of being deceptive, and they use it as a source of power to twist and lie to individuals and hide behind that veil for them of Christianity, because it's a veil of darkness that they are hiding behind, saying that it's Christianity. That is exactly what the devil does. Okay. That is what the devil does. And he's been doing it for far too long to all of us within the church and within our local communities, because we've not learned to discern the difference of this power structure. Okay. This power structure, there we go. Both hands in there. This power structure right here. It is dichotomous. It's right or wrong. It's really that easy. Either your choice that you're making is going to be a holy choice that helps you become a better representative of Christ in your daily walk every single day, or your choice that you're making is putting you one foot over here into the world's power. And that's what people need to understand. And there's individuals that really, I don't know how you can be a Christian and a politician. That's why I say I'm not a politician. I think that politicians only act within their self-interest. And so they're always going to be selfish in their nature. They're not going to be able to make the right decision if it hurts them and their political power. They never will. And that's been my experience. Is that what you've experienced, David? Would you say that's a good synopsis, or what else could you add to that, do you think?
Well, when you were saying all that, I was reminded of a joke. I don't even know if you should consider it a joke or not. But the only time you know a politician is telling you the truth is when they say that the other politician is lying.
Is what? So I got you turned down lower here because it was beeping at me. There we go. I got you now.
The only time you know a politician is actually telling the truth is when they make the claim the other politician is lying.
He's lying. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean.
Yeah. Pointing out the fact, hey, that politician's lying. Well, it's a politician. Yeah, he probably is lying. Good job. Yes.
Right. So, looking at that whiteboard, it reminds me of James chapter 3, and or maybe it's chapter 3. It talks about the wisdom of the world and wisdom of God, and that's kind of where Christianity comes into play when it comes to how you approach things, because we're called to be in the world, but we're not to be of the world.
Right.
And I believe it is really hard for a Christian to be a politician. And but the thing is, as a Christian, we can't just put our faith on Sunday and when we go to church and then take it off 6 days out of the week. We're called to live a life that's pleasing to God, and we're to walk by faith every single moment. And so whether we're in the home, in the church, in business, in politics, whatever subject you want to talk about, as a Christian, we have to have a worldview that governs us as to what is right and what is wrong. And that's kind of another reason why I want to get involved too, because I always pray for a revival. And originally I was thinking, if enough Christians get into politics, we'll have this revival. Well, that's not really true. The revival is based on the moving of the Holy Spirit, and it usually, I shouldn't say usually, it always starts from within the individual person. It usually incorporates in the church, and it spills out in other areas of life. And I think if people were just to say, you know what, I'm going to start walking by faith, and I'm going to do what's right regardless of where I'm at and what the situation is, I think that in of itself would start a revival. And I think that could easily carry into the political realm. Mm-hmm. So you are correct. Long story short, you're correct that it's very rare that a politician is going to do what's best for the people.
Yeah.
90, I would say 98% of the time.
The only time they'll do what's best for the people is if it's something that does not remove political power for themselves. That's it.
Yeah.
Because it's not the system that they're guided by. They're guided by this system over here, right? They're guided by this system. They're not guided by the system of representation. It's just a weird thing. Change is such a hard thing. People don't really understand how hard it is for each of us to change the way that we view the world, the way that we act in the world, especially things that are rooted within us, that are long lasting, from the way our parents, designed us, messed us up, or, made us well. I mean, that is what we're all dealing with. But being able to self-reflect and understand yourself, that's like, it's a very interesting thing to do. But we all have to do that. We all have to be able to sit and reflect, and not beat ourselves up if we make a mistake. We understand that that's why we have such a cycle of life, where we're going to get another opportunity to not make that wrong decision and be able to do the right thing. We have to start somewhere, and it's every day waking up and going, hey, I screwed that one thing up yesterday. I'm going to make sure that I don't screw that up today. And it's all that it really takes. And then you build upon that, and that's why I say my foundation, because you need a foundation. My foundation that's helped me to grow and continue to change in ways that I don't even know, now at this point, I just try to be guided by the Holy Spirit, and it's taken me in all kinds of ways I never expected. I didn't expect to be ever involved in politics. Okay. I never did. I hate this stuff, really. But I'm learning to love it more again, because I know that it's not as heavy as it was in the beginning. Because I'm understanding that the battle over darkness, the battle over evil, was already won. And so all that we see in the world that's darkness all around us, we do not have to be afraid. We never have to be afraid of darkness when we're standing in the light of Christ. And so that's where I continue to fall back in my understanding. Because when you're in the light of Christ, you cannot be afraid, because fear is over here.
Yeah.
Do I have fear on there? I don't have fear on there, do I? Darkness, evil, empty, hate. Man, I didn't write fear on here. I'm going to write fear on there. Fear is normally over on this side. I rewrite this all the time and just do different parts, but
it was there. It was there.
It's been there before. Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I did this vertically to give a representation of people. I actually want to I got to get a bobblehead of some sort so I can put it right here in the middle, because it's a representation then of really when you're sitting there on the fence and you have one foot in for the world and one foot in for God. It constantly brings you back and forth. It makes you bounce and go crazy. It makes you have those feelings of anxiety and pressure inside that is not holy, that is not God, that is not the Holy Spirit. And I continue to try to get people to understand, once you're fully in, both feet in for Christ, and you just constantly walk in the truth, and you're not afraid when you do screw up, and you can admit when you screw up, and you can fix it the next time, then you no longer have this crazy energy. You're no longer this bobblehead going back and forth between the two. You get to just stand in truth. And it is the most powerful thing that anyone could ever imagine. And so I urge everyone out there that is watching to please pick up some scripture, speak to somebody that is able to just help you to understand what it means to ask Christ into your heart, and to be your rock, and to be the one that is your guide, because this is a spiritual battle. Politics is nothing but a battle for our souls, and we have to understand it. Anyone that gets involved and wants to run for a position that's elected, you have to understand this, that as soon as you do that, there is a battle that is happening for your soul, and you have to go in with the right support. You have to go in with the right mind and understanding on how to protect your heart, to not be controlled by this power of the world. it is a weird thing, and I know David understands it. He's been in these positions, and that he's a man of God, and that he's prayed about these things, and that he's come into this with the right heart. That without representation, all of us are doomed to be controlled. All of us are doomed to be in a dark world that we've seen change. I mean, I'm only 40 years old, and I've seen the world change a lot. Obviously, technology for us on this weird edge, because we started with like nothing computers, and now we've got some crazy things. But this world has just gotten darker and darker. I mean, the decency, we have lost all sense of decency and civility within our world today. And so I continue to drive people to speak out when they have people in their community, people in authority that are not doing this. Look at our state representative, that's Cynthia Johnson. I mean, some of the stuff is getting so completely out of hand. But at least with technology now, we can get the records of it, and we can see what's going on. Not all of it is able to stay behind the scenes. And now I didn't, we're running kind of long. I didn't really get to play much of this, the recording, but I did share. I think I shared here. I'll post it again here in the chat. Oh yeah, I posted it once up there in the chat. I posted it again. So I guess hopefully that goes in the chat for everybody. It looks like maybe it's just on. Yeah, it's not on Facebook. Look like it's only sharing out to the American Patriot press page. But I'll make sure that I link to the Big League Politics article. And because we're going a little long here, I guess I haven't been on in a while, and so we normally go about 45 minutes. We're pushing about an hour. I guess what else could we talk about as far as this situation now? Because I guess, could you share what is going on now? So let's get them up to speed on the exact situation here in Ottawa. You guys had a meeting a week ago. They were supposed to. It was supposed to be in person, is what you called for the meeting, correct? And it was going to be at the church in Holland. And then the elected officials decided that they did not want to meet in person, that the governor said we can't do these things, or the health department, however you want to look at it. We know it's the governor that's doing it. But they said you got to meet by Zoom. And so they called their own separate meeting and met by Zoom. And so you guys did not have a quorum. They did. They claim now that they have elected their executive board and their officers. And now, are you guys fighting that? Have you filed with the state party? How is that being handled? And have you heard anything? Is there any ground on it yet?
Yeah, so they did have their own meeting, and they're claiming victory. In fact, it's very well written. You knew they were talking about it, planning it for a while, because as soon as their meeting was over, it's all over Facebook. And then, even within the next day, you get other party leaders that are higher up throughout the course of this, or throughout the state, congratulating, so it was all organized, you can just tell. So yeah, I did put a complaint in to MRP, and I haven't really gotten any traction there. The most traction I've been getting is through people like you and Shane from Big Leagues Politics. So hopefully, just by exposing what's going on, it will create an awareness of other counties that may not have had their elections yet, but also shine some light on how we can turn things around. There's a couple of other options that I still have. I'm not going to share at this point, but I am, really considering.
Don't play all your cards here. That's fine. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I don't play poker that often, but I do know that you just don't show all your cards. You just put one down here, one there. To see how things, kind of like chess. Move one piece and see how people react. So we'll see what happens. But
I mean, because I'm disgusted by that. I mean, again, because I truly believe that it's a system of the nobles and the peasants, and that's what they've done. I mean, if it was all the electeds, all of them were in their own meeting, and because they felt that they were just in doing so. The chair of the of the board has the the power to call the meeting.
Yeah.
I'm still kind of confused on how they feel that they've gotten around this, and how they feel just in any way, and they just act like we're going to turn a blind eye and go away, and that we're not going to continue to cause us a stink about it. But I think they're wrong. I think that we're going to continue to expose it.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, I'm willing to take a step back, and I'm going to say, you know what? I can agree to disagree with you regarding the health orders. And I can agree to disagree with you regarding the Open Meeting Act. And honestly, if you were to say that we don't have a constitutional right to meet in person, I even though I wouldn't agree with it, I would take a step back and say, okay, I can still work with you. And what I mean by that is we can agree to disagree on the Constitution, on acts, on orders, and whatnot. What we cannot agree to disagree on is Robert's Rules of Orders and our bylaws. And they broke 4 different Robert's Rules of Order and 3 different bylaws. So that's 7 violations together. So it doesn't matter what your interpretation is and what your feeling is regarding the health orders. You can't have a legitimate meeting by breaking your own bylaws and Robert's Rules of Order.
Well, and that's why, our governor has gotten so great at these scare tactics. And now that they've created this bipartisan commission today, did you see the latest situation that they've done?
Honestly, I was too busy. So
now she's created now another board, all right, a commission, and this commission is designed to educate all of the Michiganders about the COVID-19 vaccine. And so we're supposed to, really what it is, it's the propaganda board to convince all of us that we should get the vaccine. And they started off, it's Lieutenant Governor Gilchrist is on there, along with former Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley on there. I was very disgusted, but also not surprised to see that he would be on there, because majority of our politicians that are on the right are working for the same dollars. They're fighting for the same dollars that the people on the left are fighting for, because as I said, these individuals at the top of the food chain, at the very top of these things, they're funding both sides. They have different organizations that they use, and they fund both sides. And it just depends who's going to be the best, who's going to have the best opportunity. And maybe we have to dial back, because what they do is they keep moving us further and further and further and further towards socialism. And it's both sides have been moving right along with each other. That's both sides are the same beast. It's a different arm of the same beast. And we, the people, are actually the number one branch of the government, but we get controlled by this beast that has 2 arms, a Republican and Democratic side. And so because we continue to be blind and say, we're on this side, so we're right. No, we're on this side, so we're right. We don't understand that both sides are actually the same side. And until we get more people like yourself standing up, we're never going to be able to put all of the pieces together, until we have people in every single community getting involved for the right reasons, not becoming corrupted by power. We're all doomed to be stuck in this. So did you ever think in your life, and has there been any other time in your life, David, that you have been offered a position within an organization, a bottle of alcohol, as well as an award ceremony, just for anything? Has that ever been offered to you for anything else?
No. As far as party leadership, no. When I did run for state rep in 2014, one of the other candidates had for lack of better terms, an unofficial campaign manager, and he wanted to meet with me. Okay, that's fine, whatever. He said that if I dropped out of the race, endorsed this other candidate, that they would in 2015, if I was run for city council, or in 2016 for county commissioner, or just run for some race, they would endorse me. They'd get me all the money I want, give me all the publicity I needed, and they'll do everything they possibly can to guarantee that I win that seat. So it's not the first time I've been approached.
Yeah.
And obviously I turned that down. I actually looked at a person and says, poll. I never believe the polls, because, they're saying, well, the polls are showing us that we may win, but we need, basically the bottom line would be, we need you to drop out because you're the reason why we're not crossing over the top. That was the bottom line. And so it's like, no, I'm not going to. And honestly, that day, I was feeling so good about not wanting to do anything with that deal. I think I knocked on more doors, was more positive, made more connections than any other day that I did before. Just knowing that I was some kind of a threat kind of just gave me some energy or something. Just go out there to prove them wrong or something. I don't know.
Right. Well, honestly, David, so I think that what I've seen more than anything, okay, because this power that we're fighting against within ourselves, because again, it's a battle is within ourselves, so that we do not become corrupted by this power of the world. All right. It's especially if you've given your life to Christ and you claim to be a Christian, then there is a battle for your soul by the power of the world. And when we become parts of these structures that are world-formed structures, and because some of them really can be biblical, because he gives us a lot of the same kind of structures within the Bible, but when we stop doing them in a biblical manner, by being a representative of Christ, right? When we stop being the representative and we buy into the power of the world, our soul becomes corrupted. We do those decisions that are only for the selfish gain, that are going to do wrong against others, and we become doomed. So we have to go in, as I said, prepared. We have to go in understanding what this system is, how the battle is going to approach you, right? It's going to be by way of individuals coming in and giving you offers for things. In just the last several months, we've had people that have approached our groups and offered us unlimited funds for things. And I immediately said, wait a minute, what do you mean unlimited funds? Where do those kind of funds come from? Right. Because I don't want to get involved with anyone or anything that I don't know exactly what it's tied to. And we're not ever going to be perfect. There's still individuals that we have to vet and get are they here for the right reasons or not, right? And that's why, again, it's getting better and better at discerning the difference between the powers. And it's a matter of practice. Practice makes perfect in absolutely everything. As a Christian, like you said, it's a daily walk. That's what it is. We have to be working and living our lives every single day. That's why this is I'm in my business here. Okay. This is just the wall. And this is on my wall all day, every day. And so when my customers come and I'm helping them and I'll see them staring at the board, have you ever seen anything? Have you ever talked about this? And so it's just a great way that I'm able to do that. Try to help and really be a disciple. This discipleship work that we all should be working towards as Christians. And I do that. I say Jesus in politics. That's all we talk about in here. And people think I'm crazy, but it absolutely is how we as Christians should be living our lives. Because then we're not afraid when people try to do dark tactics. We are prepared. We have that practice by just talking about it every day with people. We no longer are afraid when they try to twist our faith and use it against us, because that's what people in these organizations, like the Christian coalitions and things of those natures, again, they're deceptive organizations. They're really controlled solely by powers of the world, political powers, by people that have money, that people have influence in all these organizations, and we have to know how to stand up against them. So anyone that's going to watch this, reach out to myself, reach out to any of the other patriots that you see that are speaking out, and get in touch with us. We will help you to get your voice heard. We will help you to get your story out there. We need to continue to grow this network. So please share this video. Get the word out there. Like the page. Who knows how long we'll stay on Facebook again, because I've been deleted twice already. But please like the Facebook page, the American Patriot Press page. Subscribe there. We've got to continue supporting individuals like David that are fighting against this darkness. This is, man, it's such a crazy year. I've been having such a hard time. I've had some struggles and things, but I truly feel this is a year where the Lord has been working to strip away everything from us, all of the world's things. Just strip it down, strip our egos to the point where we are humbled and able to see all of these things that I'm describing, how we can be guided by the Holy Spirit by simply walking in truth on a daily basis. Not beating ourselves up when we fail, because no matter what, we're all going to fail at one point or another. And I think that I know for myself, I tend to beat myself. I'm the hardest on myself. Okay. I try not to be hard on other people, because I understand how we can feel at times when the world's weight is upon us. And when we're dealing with politics, when we're dealing with our system of governance that is broken and controlled by the world's power, it is like the weight is upon you. It is a physical toll. It literally can manifest into physical ailments and disease. And so you have to go in doing the right things, understanding the battle, surrounding yourself with prayer and others that are praying, diving into the word, reading his word as much as possible, and just continuing to be that light as much as we possibly can. And so, David, you've been a light, and I appreciate it. Is there anything else that you wanted to speak about? Because, man, I could just keep talking. We got to keep preaching it, man. That's all it is. I want to preach it every day, man.
I was going to say, based on everything you're telling me, I think I don't need to go to church on Sunday now, because you're just preaching it, man. I still plan on attending a service on Sunday.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to say, I mean, we need to be bold. We need to stand up, get involved. And, feel free to contact your elected official, keep up with what they're doing. If you're not a precinct delegate, become a precinct delegate. Feel free to run for school board, because if we can control the school boards, we can kind of have a better control on education, or at least, because right now it's not really education, it's more indoctrination.
It is.
But speaking of educating yourself, when you were talking about, it's the two hands of the same beast, the Republicans and Democrats kind of moving us towards socialism. It reminded me of a book I just got done reading about a month ago. It's called "We Hold These We Hold These Evidence to Be Self-True."
These truths to be self-evident.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yes. Hold these truths to be self-evident.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. Yeah. By Oliver DeMille. I don't know if you ever heard of him. And he was talking about how it's about natural law. And he talked about, I think, about 10 or 12 different natural laws, most of them regarding politics. And in that book, I think on 2 different occasions, he ended up saying both Republicans and Democrats actually hold on to natural laws. And it's just the opposite, though. Like when it comes to business, the argument is that the Republicans are for big business. And there is some truth to that, because if you cut taxes with those who have more money, they would be able to have more money to give out to expand their business. So there's truth to that. But there's also truth when it comes to small business, which, the Democrats supposedly like to help out. And even those people that are having a hard time finding a job, the social welfares and the safety nets and stuff like that, we can do everything to help, one another, but we always take sides as to who we want to help when it comes to politics. So what the author was talking about is the Democrats are actually onto something, just like the Republicans. The real truth that helps is right down the middle. And so I just want to encourage all of your listeners to get that book and by Oliver DeMille, read it, share it with our people. And in fact, I've been convicted after reading that I feel like my calling now, whether I do get reelected as chair, if there is another meeting or not, or if I'm not and I just walk away, my calling now is to not only educate myself more as to what our founding fathers did and what they believed, but to start sharing that with other people and, start redoing what they did. I mean, success is success is success. So if our founding fathers were successful because of, what they did and what they believe in, I think we can duplicate that again.
Absolutely. Having some honor and integrity, and just standing up for what's right and not backing down. That's what compromise, compromise is capitulation. That's what I've been saying. That's all that it is. You're giving up your power. And we need to stop that. We need to understand when we cannot compromise. And when it comes down to our moral values that have been compromised repeatedly, we need to understand where to stand up in that. And so, I agree. It's just, we got a long road ahead. We have to continue to fight. We know that it's not over, but again, it's just a matter of just shining that light of truth and continuing to get involved. And that's the only way. We have to be involved. We as Christians cannot just sit back and be silent. We cannot say, well, we got to obey what tyranny is saying. We have to stand up against it, or else we're doomed. Because they're lying. When our government in America is no longer abiding by the powers of the people, it is our duty to stand up against them and to make sure that we change what they're doing. And so that's really, I think, what a lot of us on the right have been doing, and I'll say that just in general, not as far as even the partisan side of things. It's the right side of the political spectrum are typically, it's divided to be people that want less government. And that's what America truly is. It's about a smaller government that is manageable by the people. And our federal government has been not that for a long time. I think people are finally waking up to the degree that we have no control over the state and federal, and hopefully they'll listen. Hopefully they'll continue to get involved locally, and over the next many years here, we'll start seeing then some of this take back. But it's crazy. These people, because like you said, the schools, all these different systems, they've been infiltrating them subversively for many decades. And we've allowed them to subvert them and to take them over. So it's a long fight, but thank you, David, once again.
No, thank you.
I need to pray for you. I want everyone else out there to pray for David as well. Because again, it's not easy. David makes it look easy though, and that's awesome. So, so any of you that are having a hard time, I'm sure if you reach out to David, I'm sure that he'd be willing to, give you some advice, I'm sure, and let you know, how he's handled some of these things that are going on. And honestly, I think we need a call to action for everyone out there. So I'm going to help you with that as well, David, to get a call to action for different people that can start to maybe message the state party. We can message Laura Cox and some of those other individuals, the other chair members, so that they can be alerted to what's going on, so that they can speak out. We need to have integrity in this process. We have evidence of a lack of integrity of this process. And so now is the time. I think that if any of these Republicans want to get elected again, now is the time for them to stand up and speak out, because I think the grassroots, the true people's movement, is growing to a degree that some individuals have never seen before, and it's not going to get corrupted. That is the goal. I know that's, I think, your goal, David, and I look forward to working with you more in the future in helping to prevent this corruption of our representative process. So thank you again. Thank you, everyone that's watched. This is the official longest VocaLocals we have ever had by almost double. But it's I think
worth it.
Good, man. I think there's been a lot of good. And really, we didn't need to get into all of what they have. We've linked the story for the Big League Politics. Shane Trejo did an amazing job in putting all of the pieces together for some of the information that we got to him. So I hope that all of you do click on that link. I will pin it to the top in all of the different pages that I can. And we'll make sure that everyone continues to share that. And yeah. The Lord's gonna win. We already know that. Like I said, the battle's been won, and so that's why you make it look so easy, David. That's awesome. It's awesome to see that light shining right through you, brother. So thank you. Continue to stand strong, and everyone have a wonderful night. Okay.
Thank you. See ya.
All right, guys. See ya.